have to do, of course, is have a lot of assiduity. I like that word because it means sit down on your ass until you do it. And I've had marvelous partners all my life. I think I got them partly because I tried to deserve them, and partly because I was wise enough to select them, and partly maybe there was some luck. But two partners that I chose for one little phase of my life had the following rule when they created a little design, build, construction team. They sat down and said, two-man partnership, divide everything equally. Here's the rule. Whenever we're behind in our commitments to other people, we will both work 14 hours a day until we're caught up. Well, needless to say, that firm didn't fail. The people died honored and rich. It's such a simple idea. It's such a simple idea. Another thing, of course, is life will have terrible blows in it. Horrible blows. Unfair blows. Doesn't matter. And some people recover and others don't. And there, I think the attitude of Epictetus is the best. He thought that every mischance in life was an opportunity to behave well. Every mischance in life was an opportunity to learn something. And that your duty was not to be submerged in self-pity, but to utilize the terrible blow in a constructive fashion. That is a very good idea. And you may remember the epitaph which Epictetus left for himself. So here lies Epictetus, a slave, maimed in body, and the ultimate in poverty and favored of the gods. Well, that's the way Epictetus is now remembered. He's had big consequences. And he was favored of the gods. He was favored because he became wise, and he became manly. Very good idea. I've got a final little idea, because I'm all for prudence as well as opportunism. My grandfather was the only federal judge in his city for nearly 40 years, and I really admired him. I'm his namesake. And I'm Confucian enough that even now I sit here and I'm saying, well, Judge Munger would be pleased to see me here. So I'm Confucian enough all these years after my grandfather is dead to carry the torch for my grandfather's values. And Grandfather Munger was a federal judge at a time when there were no pensions for widows of federal judges. So he didn't save from his income why my grandmother would have been in penury. And being the kind of man he was, he underspent his income all his life and left her in comfortable circumstances. Along the way, in the 30s, my uncle's bank failed and couldn't reopen. And my grandfather saved the bank by taking over a third of his assets, good assets, and putting them into the bank and taking the horrible assets in exchange. And of course, it did save the bank. And while my grandfather took a loss, he got most of his money back eventually. But I've always remembered the example. And so when I got to college and I came across Haussmann, I remembered a little poem from Haussmann, and it went something like this. The thoughts of others were light and fleeting, of lovers meeting, luck or fame. Mine were of trouble and mine were steady, and I was ready when trouble came. You can say, who wants to go through life anticipating trouble? Well, I did. All my life I've gone through life anticipating trouble. Here I am well along in my 84th year, and like Epictetus, I've had a favored life. It didn't make me unhappy to anticipate trouble all the time and be ready to perform adequately if trouble came. It didn't hurt me at all. In fact, it helped me. So I quit claim to you, Haussmann and Judge Munger. The last idea that I want to give to you as you go out into a profession that is frequently puts a lot of procedure and a lot of precautions and a lot of mumbo jumbo into what it does. This is not the highest form which civilization can reach. The highest form that civilization can reach is a seamless web of deserved trust. not much procedure, just totally reliable people correctly trusting one another. That's the way an operating room works at the Mayo Clinic. If a bunch of lawyers were to introduce a lot of process, the patients would all die. So never forget, when you're a lawyer, that you may be sold for selling this stuff, but you don't have to buy it. You may be rewarded for selling it, but you don't have to buy it. In your own life, what you want is a seamless web of deserved trust. And if your proposed marriage contract has 47 pages, my suggestion is you not enter. Well, that's enough for one graduation. I hope these ruminations of an old man are useful to you. In the end, I'm like old Valiant for Truth in Pilgrim's Progress. My sword I leave to him who can wear it.
You get sick for a minute.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Charlie, for sharing your insights with all of us, certainly for helping me throughout the year. Again, a little shout out, Poor Charlie's Almanac. You can get it online, not at a discount. Now, Charlie's a hard man I've really gotten to know and love him throughout the year. He's a hard man to get things for that he doesn't already have, but I did it. We did it here today because we're giving him something we know he doesn't have. The Order of the Coif, for those of you who don't know, is an elite national honor society that encourages excellence in legal education. Only the top 10% of our graduating class is eligible for election to the Order of the Coif. Harvard Law School, where Charlie and I and Dean Keening went, doesn't actually have an Order of the Coif. We found out that here at USC Gould School of Law, we're able to elect honorary members who have contributed in extraordinary ways to the legal profession. And as far as we know, we've never done it. So this is the first time we're conferring an honorary degree, and we're to Charlie Munger in recognition of his extraordinary achievements and the honor he brings to our profession, because one of the things I think you all learned is Charlie never really stopped being a lawyer. He stopped working in the law firm. He still has an office, by the way. This is a great Charlie Munger story. You kind of have to know Charlie to get this one. But he has an office at Munger, Tolles, and Olson because they gave it to him. He's the founder of the firm. No, you're going to stand, you're going to sit corrected. Because they gave him this, and he actually sublets part of it because he doesn't need all of it. So he's a man who flies coach, except when he's with Nancy. He's a jewel. He's a wonderful guy. And we're very pleased and honored to give him this overly large, well-calligraphied Order of the Coif certificate.
I want to point out how wise SC is. Caltech offered to give me a Master's of Science if I would send them $15. I'd completed the program. And, of course, I never sent the $15. I get this one without having to pay for it.
Not yet, Charlie. Bill's in the mail.